following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Media Mash, a roundtable of Cowboys insiders dropping wisdom and offering sizzling takes on the current state of your Dallas Cowboys. Now, your host, Steve Denis.
We are gathered once again for Media Mash on this Wednesday after kind of taking a week away for the bye week. Steve Denis is my name, and man, we've already had 5 minutes of fun before the show even started in here. Let me introduce everybody as we gather to discuss important stuff. That's what we do on Media Mash. We mash it all up. Jane Slater, NFL Network. Say hi to the camera, Jane.
What's up?
There she is. Whoa. Has her TV makeup on.
Yeah, I showed up today when I realized there's actually cameras in here.
which we discussed. I haven't had to wear TV makeup in 7 years.
It made no difference for you.
It is so liberating.
It made no difference.
Hey, I'll introduce you in a minute.
Okay.
How does that?
Wow.
Because I like to share intimate details on this show. You know, I was once married to a guy in sports, and I got to say, it was a little bit of a turnoff seeing him put MAC powder on, studio pressed powder on at night, and then take it off and ask for a Neutrogena wipe.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that? Are they wanted to sponsor? Maybe we should reach out to Neutrogena.
Neutrogena's not the problem. The issue that you had a man that was taking off makeup.
She was on TV. You have to wear it.
She said it was a problem, though. It was kind of weird.
I wore it for 32 years.
She acknowledged that it was weird.
Do you want me to recommend a concealer line for you?
I did. I got a little black
Nick Eatman from Dallas Cowboys Media right here.
What's up?
There he is. Everybody's getting sexy to the camera. Chill. And this is Clarence Hill Jr.
You know, it's funny because things go through my mind when you said
what?
See, now you're getting old.
Makeup.
I was thinking about when you opened with your whatever how you opened. I was thinking, dearly beloved. You know,
dearly beloved, we are gathered here.
Yes, when you said gather, I was thinking about the Prince thing.
Absolutely.
We're going to Minnesota this weekend. We're going to see Paisley Park. Dearly beloved,
back to
gathered here for this thing called life.
See, you've worn some TV makeup. You do all the TV stuff. I mean, Nick knows.
Say it, Clarence. Say the line you just said to Steve.
It don't make no difference.
Okay. Well, it doesn't. But here's
got a face for radio.
See, here's the thing. I used to wear glasses on TV ever since I turned like 45. Purely cosmetic. I'm just going to come clean right now. I could see fine, but I covered up the bags under my eyes.
That's really funny. I wore glasses my first year in college, so my professors would think I was smarter, and I never needed them.
Now that's evil. That's a different level.
Not touching that. That was a layup. That was like to throw it up. I'm just going to leave that alone.
See, if it was a guy, you would have said it wouldn't help.
I couldn't let Steve be all vulnerable there and not help him out.
Hey, out of mind. I've got a rule in life, and I've passed it, and you're getting close. Oh, wait a minute. You may already be there.
Hey.
Maybe not. Once you turn 60, cosmetics are out the window.
Definitely not 60.
I could
speak for yourself.
I just don't care anymore.
You didn't care?
Look at the big old bags under my eyes. You think I care?
Speak for yourself.
Actually, you have
glad
to care.
Dak's doing good. I'm glad Dak's healthy.
All right, let's dive in. We've got some stuff happening at practice. Slater Jane all over it on Twitter, as were the rest of everybody. We'll get to that in a minute and get to that later in the show. Well, we got to start with Dak. I mean, you guys were out at practice, all three of you, so you know what's up with his Wednesday participation. So let's start with Chill. What is up with Dak on this Wednesday?
Dak's playing. There's no doubt about it. CD said he was 90%. You know, obviously McCarthy's not going to – he has to be smart and say the right things, but they're pointing toward Dak's plan. You watch him. Certainly started out with Britt Brown on the court, athletic trainer. Britt Brown, the best in the business. Hear that, Britt? All on the courts.
Britt gets mad if you don't say
I know
stuff
it.
like that.
I know. I'd like to get off of his list.
He started doing individual drills. I mean, there was, there have been signs pointing
Not
to
a
this.
part of the beat if you haven't been on it.
Yeah,
that's right.
There's been signs pointing all the way back to last week when you see him at the Stars game, you see him at the concert. He's wearing cowboy boots. You know, when he came and talked to us on
Halloween
Monday.
Halloween
costume. And there's no boot on. He's jogging. He's throwing passes. He doesn't look like that. He looks like Dak. That's what he looks like Dak. He didn't look any different. Certainly Mike McCarthy and Will McClay, hovered over him while he was doing some of his rehab work and certainly getting an extended look at him. But he looked good. He looks fine. Certainly they're being smart about it, but he looks fine.
Fine. Hurt. Go.
Well, I was just going to say, full transparency, I had to leave practice after seeing him on the resistance cords to go do TV for NFL Now. But seeing him move laterally on the resistance cords, moving with Brit strapped to him and backpedaling, doesn't seem like there's any limitations in the calf that I saw. And then, of course, you guys saw him throw, so I'll let you give those observations. But everyone I had reached out to starting back last week to this week, I would be absolutely floored if they didn't play him. The only thing that I heard from Mike McCarthy was do you want it to be a lingering issue where it pops up week to week?
Yeah.
You know, is this a game that you think to yourself, well, maybe if we give ourselves one more week to make sure he's healthy, if we're going to make a push with him, do we want to make sure this is fully healed? Because I think if you let that decision come down to Dak, every week Dak's going to tell you he wants to play. I mean, Dak would have played in the preseason, I think, if they would have let him go. I mean, he was ready to go at practice.
Well, we saw him go crazy on Hard Knocks. He
remember they
couldn't
all
believe
said,
he couldn't play.
they've got to protect him from himself, but I just have no reason to believe he's not playing on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I do think that if he was still dealing with it, you know, and in a lot of pain, they wouldn't have him upright here on this early into the week. But I'll say this about a calf injury, though. It's the calf injury is a drunk uncle that you're not really expecting to show up until they show up. And when it shows up again and says, hello, I'm back,
That's right.
How does he handle that? How much pain is that going to be in? I will be shocked if Dak plays this game and you don't notice anything.
He was talking about you as the drunk uncle, by the way,
Nah.
because you've been there.
I'm Uncle Clarence. But listen to me, and I hear you. I think that, you know, Zach Martin talked about he had a calf strain before and how it affected him, and certainly we know Michael Gallup has missed 5 games. Number one, I don't think it's as serious as those, you know, just based on how he's handled it. And I also think the fact that he plays quarterback, there's not as much asked of a quarterback as a receiver on that thing. Mike McCarthy brought up today that, you know, Aaron Rodgers played with a calf strain toward the end of the season, including in 2014, including the famous game in Green Bay when they beat the Cowboys on the catch that wasn't. And he was throwing dimes all over the field.
But there's such an adrenaline that comes at that point in the season, and you're really only looking at 1, 2, 3 games. I mean, you're looking at
he played several games on it, but I'm just saying though, yes. But
still a great point.
But my point is, you're asking Dak to play through this, and you've got a lot of season left, and you've got a lot of divisional games ahead of you.
I think that, again, going back to the initial point, it depends on how serious it is.
Well, of course.
You know, so to me, if it was really bothering him, yeah, you don't want it lingering. You don't want it, but it doesn't look like it's bothering him.
That's where I'm at.
When he got out of the New England game, he had fun with everybody in the media and said, "Oh, you guys can have fun with this during the bye week." And I love it when media members get exasperated. I don't think it was fun for everybody. I got my glasses on now so I can read. I was going to go after your partner Rob Phillips, and by the way, we had, as you said, a trade deadline trade. Nick is in for Rob today.
Did I just switcheroo on you? I mean, did it?
No, that's fine. No, I wanted to Mickaroo. I wanted to go after Rob a little bit on this because in his 3 and Out segment that he does every week on DallasCowboys.com, he was exasperated with it already, and I'm sure that you guys that have been talking about it for 7 solid days or whatever. Here's the quote that he wrote. He finished his story with this quote: "If he's ready, he'll play. If he's not, they'll see how next week goes. Simple as that." And I just don't think it is as simple as that, because this is what's simple to me. They want him to play. He wants to play. Everybody wants him to play. Can he make it worse? Or will the extra week make sure he can't make it worse? It's as simple as that to me. And even if he's out there running around doing what you guys watched him do today, and he says, "I'm fine," George Kittle has the same injury, and he's on the shelf for San Francisco for going on.
It's not the same injury, though.
Well, you just don't know.
You do know.
What you don't know is if in 1 second, just like the second when he threw the game-winning touchdown pass, he came down on it funny, and now...
I agree, but I don't know if a week will make that much difference. And we go back, and I agree, they're tricky. You go back to Kevin Durant a couple of years ago. He had the calf strain, in the playoffs that led to Achilles injury. I hear you, but...
Well, it's up to Britt and Jim and all those experts.
But again, I just want to make the point. all calf strains are not the same. It's clearly not as bad as George Kittle's. It's clearly not as bad as Michael Gallup's, even though it's a different position. You just how they're rehabbing him, how he's able to walk, and without the boot and all the other stuff. You look at what Gallup, the first few days, weeks after his injury, he was not doing the same things Dak's doing. It's not the same injury.
Right, and like I said, what stood out for me at least was seeing him basically doing a weighted back pedal today. So like when you're doing that, I would imagine if you had something flaring up, that'd be a problem. But I think the real test is going to be how does he feel tomorrow after going through the practice today. And that's what Mike McCarthy is essentially cushioning and saying there's these thresholds for us. But that's why I just kept saying if we don't see him on Sunday, it's going to be because of that. And I'd like to think that he'd be smart by it. But this notion that the quarterback is different than the wide receiver, I get that there's a different level of acceleration, but he's a very mobile, very physical quarterback.
Yeah.
And so to Steve's point, even when he threw that ball in the final play, it was sort of this jump ball on the run.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's what he does.
I guess one thing I want to conscious us is because we see it for the first time, it's the first time it's happening. I guarantee you the things he did today, he's already done.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
So it's not about how. I guarantee this was not the first time he's thrown passes and done 100%. The resistance course with Britt.
He did it Monday. He did something Monday for Jerry to say on the radio. We're encouraged by what we saw yesterday.
So therefore, yes, it's how he looks and how he's recovered from today. But it's also he's already done and recovered and looks good.
Listen, I'm 100% convinced.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm 100% convinced he's playing on Sunday.
All right, but let's be cautious on that as well. Because you started by saying he's going to play.
He is.
It is a process, and that could change in 10 seconds.
Well, there's no guarantees. The only thing guaranteed in life is that you got to pay taxes.
I understand, but
again,
getting existential here, guys.
I mean, there's no question he's getting on the plane and he's going to Minnesota, and he has every intention of playing.
And they have every intention on playing him.
But here's what I would say, guys. There's a lot of players that are playing through injuries right now. I mean, Mari Cooper's playing through multiple. The only concern that I would have is you don't exactly have a lot of depth at quarterback if something were to happen to your quarterback
saw what that
at this point in the season.
Did you not hear Zeke today said Cooper Rush is a baller? Didn't you see him in the preseason?
He may be.
No comment?
Functionable baller. Who knows?
Did you see him in the preseason? Offense.
The fact that you said he may be, this is his fifth year
functional
in the league.
Is all I meant for a game, if necessary. I would trade one game in Minnesota with Cooper Rush as the quarterback if there's any chance of risking 7 games later.
I wouldn't be opposed to that strategy, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm like I said, I'm 100% sold on the fact that Dak is playing on Sunday.
Yeah, and they are. And again, I hear you, and I understand that, and they would do so as well.
I think
they would do so as well.
Dak
but the bottom line is,
but they would.
They would do
Correct.
so as well. But the bottom line is, it's not that cut and dry, because I don't think they think as serious as all of that.
Correct, because anyone that I've talked to about this injury, even going back, because my initial concern was because I'd watched the tape back a couple of times, was will this right calf strain put any additional strain on the right ankle? And I couldn't have gotten more dismissive text back. In other words, he's fine. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry Jones said the other day he was more worried about the shoulder than he is about this calf.
And they said that was nothing, as you recall.
And they were right.
Yeah.
Well,
they were right.
But they went and got second opinions on that
And
because it was something that it was an
and
injury that they didn't track necessarily in football. I think they've got enough information as it relates to calf strength.
That's what I'm saying. So you're right.
But
they've done their due diligence on both of them.
But Chill, my point on that is anytime you hear from Jerry, Steven, anybody else, none of them are going to go, oh, man, Dak may miss half the season. I'm scared to death. Never going to hear that. They were just as positive about the shoulder.
Well, I don't know.
Camp.
Jerry, I feel like cushioned. I feel like this year he's been pretty transparent with some of this stuff.
When it's serious,
almost
they
too
acknowledge
transparent.
it. I mean, when it's serious, they acknowledge it. I mean, let's be honest. When Gallup was out, they said he was out.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
They said he was out. They're not sugarcoating something just for us.
Well, we're not tracking Gallup's calf injury like you would track Dak's. So there's been no follow-up. Okay, he's got a calf injury. He's out for 5 games. There's been no follow-up on it. What? 5 games? It's a calf injury. Dak has a calf injury, and he's going to miss no games. But it's a different deal between Gallup and Dak.
And it's a different calf injury.
Yeah.
It's a different case. It's not as serious.
But that's a mystery that we don't understand with an injury like that.
You guys are 100% sure he'll play. You sound 100% sure he'll play. I think I'm 95% sure he'll play Minnesota. I'm 70% sure he'll play against Denver the next week. And I'm talking about calf, not anything else that happens. That's where I think it could happen. I really believe that. I mean, and I'm somebody that's living through it. I'm not an athlete, nowhere close to that. I get it. But I'm just telling you, it's an injury that will pop back up if you get on it too early.
So next week we could be talking about a more. See, that's the concern.
I hope not.
But you know what? If you were going to sit out a game, wouldn't you rather
sit
do it
out
at
Denver
home against Denver?
Right.
But you'd rather give the calf more straight time.
Not on a back
I hear
and
you
forth.
on that, but I'm saying in terms of opponents,
in terms of opponent, but not play and then come back.
I think the two things that work here. Number one, we're not giving them enough credit, okay, to think that they would risk Dak.
Of course.
They were not going to risk Dak. If that was the case that he could injure it and cause them to miss games, they would not play him. I just don't believe they would put him out there and jeopardize their entire season.
I don't know if I agree with that. NFL players play through injuries. She just mentioned Amari.
That's
risking Amari
but
every week.
No, that's not
true,
the same at all.
That's true, but we've heard
But
so
Amari
many
also
stories.
is able to pull himself out multiple times during the game, and they have incredible depth at that position.
All I'm saying is this: the nature of the NFL beast. You get your players ready to play. These games matter.
That's true. I mean, Randy
they're in a
Gregory
fight
even
for
says.
the wild card.
But the question
for the
that
bye.
every trainer always asks is, could you hurt it worse?
Right.
And the player's like, tape it up my forearm, it's broken. He's not going to hurt it worse. That's the question. They've heard it with Emmett's shoulder. Woody, that's the question.
Dak hammering his ankle back. It's fine. It's just hanging funny.
But again, if he can't play, then he won't play.
Okay.
But I think all of us are talking to people within these walls. The read and the feeling right now is he's absolutely going to play.
Yeah, and it's not a feeling that we're doing this in spite of evidence saying they can make it worse. They're really confident about him being able to play.
My point on that was it's not as simple as some people want to make it because it can linger. And the coach said it. The one thing we don't want is for this injury to become a 6-week injury where he's week to week. Every week. You want it to heal. That's all I'm saying. And, yes, we have to trust the trainers. They're very good at it, especially here in Dallas. They know what they're doing.
They've gotten the guys back pretty quick this year, to their credit.
All right, we got about 3-4 minutes here. The other situation that came up at practice today that I heard you explaining on the NFL Network this afternoon, we'll get more into it at the end of the show because we want to do a little who's in, who's out type thing and talk about the infusion of talent that the Cowboys are about to get their own guys back. But what's up with Lyle and what's up with right tackle and what's up with left guard?
So I was reaching out yesterday just because I was curious, and I had gotten told by someone that they thought Lyle's going to compete. And I found that very interesting because why wouldn't you put him back there at right tackle? And then when we get to the star and Mike McCarthy reveals that Terrence Steele is going to start the week, which I don't think he was saying he's starting. I don't know what y'all's takeaway was on that.
Yeah.
I got the sense he was saying, but I think
there were some people that got confused. Yeah.
But he was saying Terrence Steele was starting the week. They want to get into a rhythm. And keep in mind, this offensive line has not played together at all this year. The starters, Zach Martin was out the first week with COVID, but Terrence Steele has done an admirable job there at right tackle. And they're kind of going with that hot hand theory, which they did with Romo and Dak, which I thought was interesting back in 2016. But remember on Media Mash, I dropped it. Was it Rob Phillips that was sitting here, or was it you? And I'd said, I don't think that they're done with the offensive line. I've been hearing some rumblings about some frustration with the production at left guard.
That was like week 1 or 2.
Yeah. And so maybe this has less to do with putting Lyle on notice and saying, can we move him over to left guard, which he hasn't played since his rookie season, get a better production there, and then, which is funny because Mike McCarthy last year wasn't about the whole best 5 idea.
The fantasy football.
Right, fantasy football nonsense. But you're sending a message to Lyle to a lot of this team that your jobs are not guaranteed right now, which I think is an interesting message. I don't know if it's going to actually happen, but you're also sending a message to Connor Williams, who's in a contract year. We're going to need something more from you too. So
is Collins.
Right. But so whatever is happening there, I think is very intriguing to me because it is creating competition. It does give you some position flex, especially when you start looking at this offensive line and some of the injuries that are popping up. But I don't think we should just read this as an admonishment necessarily of Lyle. I think that this is sending two messages. And when we watched practice today, I thought it was very interesting that right off the jump, you had Lyle over there working at that left guard position and Connor Williams off to the side.
For all the media
No, I don't. No, I think that that's what you're looking at.
They ended up starting mixing them in there.
They were mixing them in, but I don't think that Lyle was working with the starters right off the bat.
He was when they were working.
I know.
Were you not watching your eyes over there?
I was watching because they mixed them all.
Right off the jump, when they were going through some of the drills, they immediately put Lyle there and had Connor, and it was just kind of this awkward little check for Connor, I think.
Well, I mean, I think that let's be honest. Connor's been on notice. If Connor needed this to be on notice, then he's not paying attention.
I think he's been clear. I think I don't think he's clueless to it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So this is not breaking news that Connor Williams is a problem, has been a problem. Okay, it's also not breaking news that center is a problem, has been a problem. They're concerned about center and left guard. There's no question about that. And if this means you get your best five up there, then that's fine. But there's also something at right tackle, because people I know and talk to still say that Lyle Collins is still the best right tackle on this team.
Nobody will dispute you on that.
Yeah, they still say
but I think that you've got a younger guy in Terrence Steele, you've got a cheaper guy in Terrence Steele, and if you have some continuity on that offensive line and he's doing a good job there, what can we see from somebody like Lyle Collins over there at left guard?
All of that.
And I'm not saying it's going to stick, is my point.
Yeah, and all of that.
It's early in the week.
And what people also need to understand, and Lyle Collins was not a Pro Bowler at left guard as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Was an alternate.
As a rookie?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
They don't want you to know that. They don't like to say alternates, but he was.
Listen, the best left guard on that team is the one that went to Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Ron Leary.
Ron Leary was that team. That offensive line did not take shape until Ron Leary went over to left guard. So forget the Pro Bowl. I'm sorry saying Pro Bowl. All I'm saying is Lyle Collins was not great at left guard, regardless of alternate, all that other mess that people get put on the team because somebody gets hurt. Ron Leary was the best left guard on that team. So to say to put him at left guard means they're going to get a Pro Bowl level left guard, I don't know if that's the case. He may be better than Connor Williams, but it's not like you're solving all your left guard problems.
Let's hear Nick on it, and then we'll get back to it in about 35, 40 minutes.
Interesting. Another scenario here is the locker room. I mean, one of the most liked players on this team in the locker room is Lyle Collins. So that it is, and again, if it's close. I mean, Terrence Steele. It's like in boxing. If you got the champ and you've got someone that's a contender and it goes to the cards, you better really beat the champ to get the belt because it can't just be even. And so that's the thing. I don't know if it's Terrence Steele's done great, but I don't think it's that much better. And you got to remember,
it's not better at all.
The locker room. This guy, if this guy goes and it was a really weird thing that happened, and they probably heard his side of the story and think he got screwed over, and then he comes back and loses his job. Like that could be a mess. And is it a mess worth having if it's close?
Okay.
Did you watch practice? It's funny you bring that up because I noticed it was like Lyle, Tyron Smith, Ty Nseki was over there. Mm-hmm. And Tyron Smith, and then over to the side was Terrence Steele with like some of the younger guys. And so to your point, I found myself wondering that as well. Yeah. And I also have to wonder, and I'm not accusing that Lyle would ever do this, but why would you go be really great at the left guard position this week while they're trying you out when you know that your position is right tackle? Like, is he going to give his all at left guard?
He better.
If he wants to get on the field.
Better.
No, and I'm not saying that he wouldn't. But that's not who he is. But I'm just saying.
Let's back up to something we haven't talked about.
You mean like?
But wait, we're going to take a break right now. We're going to get back to this a little bit later.
It's a dark cloud of what a situation that we have not brought up.
Good tease.
Okay, good tease.
Storm's coming in.
We'll do that later. And
are you going where I think you're going to
go?
And McCarthy did say that he wanted to reward. He believes that Terrence Steele deserves some kind of a reward, which was interesting.
Well, since Clarence is going to bring up where I think he's going.
We'll get to it.
If we can on this show.
Stay tuned.
I'll support you on that.
We'll stay tuned. We're gonna again, who's in, who's out. We're gonna get you all caught up on who's coming back, who's not, and we'll get back into Lyle. But next, we're gonna have a little fun. Who remembers the classic the movie Sound of Music? Right?
Love it.
Julie Andrews. She sang all about these are some of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Have you seen it, Nick? You're kind of young.
I remember The Wiz.
Have you seen it? Yeah.
I think yeah.
I call myself.
Yeah.
I remember The Wiz.
That's a different song. long, but
Wait.
we're gonna do the same. Our
So
favorite
long,
things.
farewell.
See, now I was thinking we could do it without singing, but I'm up for anything.
Avitas
We
and
sing our favorite things about this 5-1 Cowboys team
Sing?
next on Media Mash.
I'm not singing.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Media Mash.
Oh, yeah. It's not many shows in America that reference Julie Andrews. I'm just going to come out and say it. Raindrops on roses, whiskers on kittens.
You're right.
Bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens. See, it was a wonderful song. If you want to sing it, Jane, you can. Cream-colored ponies, girls in white dresses, all that stuff.
You think our followers know
Those
that,
are
though?
some of her favorite things. Everybody saw The Sound of Music, for crying out loud. If you
I
haven't,
don't know that, Steve.
go
I
watch
don't-
the damn
I don't
thing.
know if they want to do that.
All right, so let's get into our favorite things, and no more about
You're
this.
60, remember?
Let me
You're
tell-
60.
I had 3 sisters.
We're on Twitter.
The Sound of Music to young
I loved
girls
it.
was magic.
It was
now,
outstanding.
as
But
a
they're not
brother,
young
I'm
anymore.
going. Why are we watching this for the
He
13th
called himself
time?
a brother.
But they're not. But they're.
Clarence.
I'm a brother of 4.
But they're not young anymore. We're talking about today's kids that are
But anyway,
following us.
as we go to our favorite things,
They've definitely
and
heard
you
of
can
Sound
leave the whiskers on kittens out if you want to, Jill, about this 5-1 Cowboys team at the bye. There's a lot of work to do, a lot of games ahead. Let's just everybody name a favorite thing one at a time. We'll discuss that favorite thing and then move on to the next. Nick, you get to go first. Your favorite thing.
My favorite thing is that we are using Trayvon Diggs' name in the same sentence as Night Train Lane.
Oh, not prime time.
Well,
Ooh, I like Night Train.
I mean, he only had
Speaking of old school.
14 picks in one season, like in 1935. And was he
A little later than
As,
that.
these, as these people on Twitter start to Google Night Train Lane.
A little later than that. It's always good to learn. Jill.
Was he play? I mean, did he play as well as Night Train was playing?
Well,
back then?
it was.
Come on, Steve.
he was
did
in
they
the
throw
50s.
it as well as? Did they throw it a lot back then?
No, they
That's
didn't.
what's crazy.
Just the fact that every week it's something else. And yeah, I mean, I've compared him to Deion. I think Deion's the greatest athlete to ever play in the NFL. And he's shut down that position. But the fact that Trayvon Diggs is doing things like that, yes, it's gonna end. The streak will end. There'll probably be a big streak of 3 or 4 or 5 games without a pick. But
Does he do it this week against Kirk Cousins, who's only thrown 2 picks this year?
if the
Which
game's
is crazy
close,
to me.
If the game is
But he's
close,
thrown
he'll
a
throw
million in his career.
Right, but
throw one too.
what's
Yeah, if that's
crazy to
close.
me, though, is you just don't think of Kirk Cousins like that.
That's
He's actually
true.
had a pretty good year this year, and we just typically don't give him that much credit.
They played nobody. But
That is a good choice. They are 10 straight games with multiple takeaways, which is an NFL record. No, it's a team record. Ties the team record. Diggs with 6 in a row, of course, to start a season. That ties an NFL record. So it is a good choice. And there are a lot of favorite choices that we can make here, and Diggs is certainly one of them. And maybe tomorrow on the show we'll do what are the things that you're most concerned about, and I have a feeling one of them may be that all this fun's going to end or it's going to level out, and you just mentioned it. All right, nice one. Your turn, Clarence. What is your favorite thing?
I mean, the layup is Dak Prescott. I mean, and I don't think we can talk too much about what Dak has done.
I shot a 3.
Yeah, you did. The layup is Dak Prescott, but I'm going to say Randy.
I'm shooting from half.
But
court.
I'm going to say Randy Gregory.
Dang it, you stole mine.
Oh, you just did 2 then.
I said
you stole it. You said Dak.
No, I said the layup is Dak, but
but I don't want the layup, so I'm going to dribble back out, and so everybody can see me with my bandana on.
Yeah,
that's Clarence.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I mean, what Randy Gregory
get
done?
The brisket and the sausage.
What
Okay,
he's
you're not
gone,
gonna get
what he's gone through, his comeback and bringing a pass rush without DeMarcus Lawrence out there. The thing about it is, it's not just it's a favorite thing because you're happy for him. And for what he's gone through and what he's endured, and guy that was working in an Amazon warehouse, a couple, in the offseason trying to make ends meet when he was suspended. So you feel good about him because one thing I've always said about everybody talking about Jerry always takes chances on these guys and get these guys, these bad guys. Randy Gregory's not a bad guy.
No.
Okay? He's not Greg Hardy. He has no issues of jurisprudence. Okay, the things he's done has been a harm to himself, but no one else. And so those are issues.
Just let me jump in here because I've been anti-Randy Gregory for a long time.
A lot of people were.
That's all true. But when you say things like that, you miss the point that he was a second-round draft pick that did not help his football team.
I agree, but when I say bad guy, though, I'm talking
he's
about
a wonderful guy.
But that's what I'm talking about.
But
that's where I'm at. I'm just saying that you root for a guy. Certainly, he's had his issues. Everybody understands he's been a disappointment as a football player. No one's denying that. But I'm just saying a lot of times people try to group all the guys that Jerry gives second chances to in one pot. These guys have got these off-the-field issues. These guys got these issues with DWIs and drugs and domestic violence. They're not all the same. And Randy Gregory, again, Jerry always talked about being a smart guy. He's always been open and authentic about his issues and what he's going through.
Man, you're getting mellow in your old age.
I'm just saying you feel good.
Everybody cares about the human side. Everybody does.
I think that
But
there's no buts.
There is a but.
It's my favorite thing. It's not a but.
Well, it's open for discussion, sir.
I think so many times you believe in a person's potential and then they never realize it, right?
Yeah.
And that's certainly to your point. When I think of like these second chance guys, Rolando McClain comes to mind.
Yes.
You bring in these guys in. Jerry stayed and rode with Randy, and as someone who has gotten to know Randy pretty well over the years and seen all these twists and turns, to see his buy-in this year, the mental clarity, to feel like the things are really clicking for him has been huge. And that gets me to my favorite thing, which is Dan Quinn. Who would have thought that just by changing that defensive coordinator position, how he would have such an impactful relationship with so many players, guys like Randy Gregory, guys like Micah Parsons. I mean, look at the secondary group and what he's getting out of them. You finally found a coach that can admit mistakes, who puts people in positions to succeed, is not afraid to go and actually reinvent the wheel. So many people, I hear these coaches in the offseason, I've changed, or I went back to the drawing board. It really feels like Dan has, but he's able to turn this group around so quickly, and to have an appreciation for that, you'd have to really understand some of the layers of what was going on that defensive side of the ball, some of which was never reported. It was bad last year, really bad, which is why we actually haven't seen Jerry Jones ever get rid of a defensive coordinator after just 1 year, but he did it because it was that bad. But to see this turnaround as quick as they have, Dan Quinn's been one of my favorite things.
I want to say something else about Randy Gregory, who's a huge part of that. These AP voters that vote for comeback player of the year, they need to quit worrying about the injuries because Dak could win it this year. Joe Burrow could win it. I get it. They have a team of people trying to get them back. He's going to rehab this ankle, rehab this knee, rehab whatever. They're expected to get back. I'm not saying it's not a big deal. What they're doing is awesome. Who's working for Randy Gregory to get back? Guys like Aldon Smith a year ago. That's the comeback player of the year. You're coming back from being in a dark, dark place and trying to do it with not a lot of help. You don't have people calling you all the time. You have to make that choice that you're going to do it. And so if somebody like Randy Gregory gets to double-digit sacks this year, that's the comeback player of the year, not these guys that are coming back from injuries and playing in quarterback and doing that at 25, 26. This type of guy.
It would almost be a lifetime comeback for Randy Gregory. See, I'm gonna give the other side of this real quick because I've always been on it. One of the agreements that I made in my 23 years covering the team, to me, it's always about the football team. People used to always say, are you friends with any of the guys in that? No, I've got enough friends. I'm not friends with any Dallas Cowboys. That's not what I'm here for. It's about the football product. The problem with, and by the way, you brought up Aldon Smith, which was a risk that went haywire.
Disaster.
And there are many of them. The problem with Randy Gregory, and it remains a problem, and everybody's happy for what he's experiencing right now. It's a wonderful story. But there were 3-4 different times that the organization and fans trusted him, and it went south. So it's a trust thing. Can you trust Randy Gregory? And unfortunately, players with that track record, right when you need him most, let's say in the playoffs, all of a sudden something can go south again.
And the problem is you're so naive about life.
But
that's what frustrates me.
You're going to preach me on life now.
Because when you have issues,
it's about the football team.
It's about life. Okay,
some popcorn, Chris.
When you have issues, it don't just, hey, I'm overcome my drug issue, it's gone away. And
I agree.
You know,
it's about the football team.
Jason Garrett, they all talk about.
I'm going to take you back to
rehab is about relapse.
It's also about having a coach that can work with a player like that and get the best out of him.
Sure.
And when you go back to training camp, Randy just lit up when he talked about Dan, and that was a relationship that was formed ahead of the draft when he came and worked him out at Nebraska. That is someone who said to him early on, we want you as a featured pass rusher. It was that belief in him, and he got a clean slate with him.
That's about football, not life lessons.
Right,
that's about football.
And check this out.
But
the Cowboys made moves to replace Randy.
Are you still on Aldon Smith's side after last year? He's having a tough time in life.
The Cowboys made moves to replace Randy, okay? They did not. At the end of the day, once he was gone, they moved on with the football team. Okay, they moved on, and they brought in defensive ends. They brought in other guys to replace him to take care of the football team.
Not true. He's been here all along.
But to help your football team. I'll take it back to football for you. To help your football team, they're not paying him hardly anything. And think of the production they're getting from him. So there is your helping your football team right now.
All I'm saying is we're 6 games into the season. I would prefer
talking
Randy let the story happen before everybody starts heaping things on him.
Randy doesn't want you to start talking about the story. He literally set the tone early.
What are your favorite things at 5-1? We understand it's only 6 games.
Okay.
You said favorite things at 5-1, and now you're trying to poo-poo it. Because it's only 6 games.
You know what my not favorite thing is?
I mean, come on. Because it makes no sense. It just makes no sense that you said it's only 6 games
Clarence,
when you made the favorite thing.
I'm going to get to my favorite thing now.
Goodness.
And if you want to poo-poo it.
My favorite thing's mute.
Mute. No kidding. And especially on a Wednesday coming out of the bye week. There's no reason to be this.
Did you not get a break? Did you relax?
Reason to be this heated. I know you're rooting for Randy. Good for you.
And
I'm glad he's doing things for the Cowboys. All I'm saying is the trust part of it, let's see it play out.
No one said that wasn't the case.
All right, here's my favorite thing. It's been a very long time, in my opinion, that the Dallas Cowboys have had a coaching advantage. That's my favorite thing. I mean, just think about it. How long has it been since the Cowboys went into any stadium on any Sunday, Thursday, or Monday, and they had a coaching advantage? And now your point with Dan Quinn, huge point. The culture he's changing on that side of the ball and how all the players have bought in. But it's more than that. It's how he figures out how to make things problematic for the offense in the right times of games. Kellen Moore, who leads the league in points and yards, and same thing.
He busted Bill Belichick on the road.
Just punked him.
Literally got their
punked
first
him.
win on the road against one of the best
And
defensive minds in the game.
That's absolutely
First win
right.
since 1987.
And I'm going to take it to McCarthy as well. And I think
I'll
that
give him some credit.
I'm thinking he's being ignored in this. He is only the second coach of his ilk in the Jerry Jones era. The other one was Parcells. I mean, Jerry tried everything. Jimmy was his college buddy. Switzer was his college buddy. Chan was the hot offensive coordinator. Campo was the beloved guy who was a part of Super Bowls. We're going to keep it in-house. Parcells was the proven, long-time head coach who had won a Super Bowl. Then he went to Wade, who was the defensive coordinator.
Surprise, I'm here.
got his boots back in Texas. And then he went to Jason Garrett, who was back to the young prodigy coordinator.
Surprise, I'm here.
Now he went. God love Wade.
Are back in Texas.
Wade wanted to hate me, but Wade doesn't hate anybody. That's what I loved about him. He would talk through anything. Now, McCarthy is very subtle in why I think he gives the team an advantage that they haven't had in a very long time. We'll see it play out later when they're trying to win something. That's where you're going to see McCarthy's experience that they haven't had. Jason Garrett never went on a playoff run. Wade Phillips never went on a playoff run. You can go all the way through them all. So I just think it's neat for Cowboys fans, if you think about it, to finally have a coaching advantage.
And I think it's helped, and we've talked about this before, I think it's helped that he's been able to endear himself to them in a room physically, to be able to go and do team dinners, to connect on the road. I mean, there's so much about football that really does come down to connection, team bonding, building the locker room chemistry that they really didn't get last year. And what I was told by players who played for Mike before, the one thing that they loved about him was the way that he put such an emphasis on them taking care of their bodies. And if you look at a lot of these guys, they're looking to extend their careers 5, 10, 15 years. And when you hear him talking about the time that he gives them on Fridays for their headspace and taking care of their body, I think that goes a long way. Feeling like you've got a coach that gets you and isn't running you into the ground.
Look at the bye week. When is the last time we said, and yeah, there was one, instance where it didn't happen, with DeMonte Casey, but that's probably going to happen regardless, of the situation. He gave them the whole week off. We've never really seen that before. And so,
and I think that's huge.
Yeah.
That's saying a coach saying, I get it. It's a long season. I trust you. Take some time that goes a long way. I mean, think about your own bosses when they're not micromanaging you and they treat you like an adult. That goes a long way.
Have you ever seen the team after the in the team huddle when they win a game and you kind of you see the locker room speech and all that? What are those guys always saying? They're always saying this, and it never really works. But they're like, See you Wednesday? That's the one thing they want to hear is we'll see you Wednesday. That means Monday, Tuesday off. It doesn't really happen.
All right, two things real quick. Rookie, Beamer, pop up Clarence's camera. Oh, you missed it. See, we're boring Clarence. He's on his phone. He's not even paying attention.
You're handling this.
But you know what? He's kind of like a child when you take him to a restaurant when he gets worked up and he has a temper tantrum. Just give him his iPad and let him be quiet for a little bit. Calm down.
No, the coloring book. Move that over there.
Calm down.
But I liked the comments today from Gregory was one of them. Who was the other one that called him out for being kind of lethargic at practice today?
Giving Gregory credit. Huh?
Who was the other one? Gregory and it was Dalton Schultz actually. Yeah,
they were a little sluggish.
That they were sluggish at practice today.
Yeah.
I love that. And then Zach Martin made the comment when they got back to work Monday that the energy in the locker room, they wanted to go back to work.
Yeah.
They enjoyed their bye, but let's go. See, McCarthy's going to be a long haul credit because he knows the steps of a run and to win something. And so I would trust him on that when it comes up. And if it, instead of getting run over in a playoff game, maybe his leadership will give a different result.
I've got to eat crow a little bit this year because I do think that he's done a good job navigating this team. I think he's sort of connected with these guys on a different level this year because a lot of the guys kind of felt like, not that he was checked out, to be fair, there was a lot of stuff going on last year, but I feel like there's a deeper relationship with McCarthy this year. And he does feel like he is a player's coach in the sense that even when you hear him talking about the guys on the podium, you feel like he's in your corner. And I think that goes a long way. So I think last year was tough for a guy who is trying to connect with a new team technologically. It's a lot easier because I used the comparisons of Kevin Stefanski last year. But Kevin's also a younger guy. So it's easier for him to connect with those young guys.
I think it's also about the players, and he's done a great job. But you're also talking about a young team, but Dak and Zeke, they've been through this. They've suffered since 2016 when everything has come through, and I think they have a different resolve. They talk about the selfish. Amari, and you talked to the wide receivers coach, you talked to everybody. He sets the tone for that whole group of being, not me guys and looking for stats, but being unselfish.
And you don't expect that from that room.
Right, and they all root for each other. So, yes, McCarthy's done a great job, but also I think these players are part of that who has set the right tone, certainly starting with Dak, who's probably one of the best leaders, greatest leaders this organization's ever known. And that says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
agree with that.
Well, we've talked so long, too, about getting the right type of guys. These guys feel like they finally got the right type of guys.
No, we talk about it or Garrett talked about it?
Yeah, well, Garrett talked about it.
Garrett talked about it. But my point is this year. And
Garrett brought in some of the
But knock on wood, we're not seeing these guys in the headlines this year for the wrong reasons.
No, I mean,
and we didn't have a lot of that in Garrett's era.
You didn't have a lot, but the bottom line is, you want the right kind of guys, but let's bring it back. They got players.
Bringing it back. They got talent.
They got great.
But I'm
they got
saying
right kind of guys.
Right kind of guys in that way. They fit from a scheme perspective. They fit from a
I was talking about. I was talking about the other. I was saying this the other day. Can I say this right quick?
Yeah. Little Nicky's raised his hand.
When was the last time we had the Cowboys had a defense where you had playmakers on every level?
Well,
up front. Tell me, every level.
You talking about when they were a good team?
When last time?
Anytime.
2007.
Who was the playmaker in the secondary?
Defense was really good in 2007.
I said, give me the playmaker in the secondary. Difference makers in the secondary.
James. You know what I mean? He's got a good point there. Terrence, Ken Hamlin, they made the Pro Bowl. Anthony Henry had a lot of picks, but they weren't considered playmakers.
DeMarcus Ware was on the 07 team.
And we're talking consistency from some of these guys,
Terrence
too.
Newman was on that level.
Oh, stop it.
Really?
No, he was not. Love him.
Sorry, Chris.
No, but consistency.
Well, some of the guys you're talking about they've done it for a minute. Diggs, Micah, they've done it for a minute.
That's all we can judge it on right now, Steve.
Steve, do you want to just wait until December to do a show?
No, here's what
this is a daily show.
Wait, Nick's turn. He raised his hand.
I raised my hand. Thank you.
Yeah.
At one point, you're right. Everybody's right about we haven't seen this, and I've called it the most unselfish team that I've seen in a long time. There has not been a bad loss yet. Bad losses. They had a loss, but it was almost like a win.
Right.
It was a win of like, man, if they play like this, they can win all these games, and they have. They have. It was a moral victory. I don't care what you say. It was a moral victory because that morale got up, and they won 5 in a row. Wait till they have a bad loss, because any loss at this point is going to be bad because they're probably going to be favored. Wait till they do that. Then we'll see how they respond the next week and all that.
But was that not the Patriots game for you? With the penalties, the way the reffing was going, when you talk about going into overtime, you're on the road. For me, that was a game that I sort of thought that some of this was an anomaly. In other words, I'm like you. There's a lot of Cowboy fans like, I don't know if I can trust this.
I would shut down that only to say, what is New England, 2-4? They're not a very good football team.
They're 3-4.
They're not 2-4 now.
They're 3-4, but
3-4. They won this week.
They got a
Bill
moral victory
Belichick.
against the Cowboys. That's why they put 150 on the Jets now.
Oh, yeah, they spanked the Jets. That's right.
But
Belichick let it all out on the Jets. And he was throwing with 2 minutes to go, and he's up $1 million.
The way they hung in there in the Tampa Bay Bucks game when you don't have Zach Martin on your offensive line to go, and it's Dak's first game right out of the gate. The Chargers game on the road. There have been some signature wins this year that I felt that these guys have really shown a lot of resilience and a lot of confidence and belief in themselves. And when I look ahead at this schedule, barring major injuries to your quarterback,
looks pretty easy.
It looks good.
They're going to lose one, though. I mean,
Cedric, they need
Cedric.
Okay, let's wrap this up.
And Minnesota could be that game.
And the Saints could be that game.
I don't have
what's fun about
they just traded for your boy.
Who?
They're running back from Houston. Mark Ingram is back.
Okay. Boom and zoom. Yes, and I've got that game this weekend.
He's joined
he's
Kamara,
on Twitter.
my fantasy team star.
Yes.
He's on Twitter while we're sitting here talking about the
I keep
Cowboys.
up with news.
Yes, well, that's exciting. I just got a really good game
Because
this
he can teach us
weekend.
all about life lessons over here.
I'm just saying.
Hey, I think it's interesting that all of our favorite things, we should have a little poll on which one will blow up first. I mean, they could all be over quickly. Diggs is amazing. He's going to cool off. Gregory, let's hope not.
Dan Quinn, I think, is going to
could get a job somewhere else next year. The coaching advantage, 2 of them could get a job next year. So enjoy it while you can is my point. All right, let's get to this on Media Mash next. Back to Clarence going there. Jane said, are you going to go there? I don't know where he's going when talking about Lyle Collins. That's coming up. And then kind of just an update on who's in as Cowboys are coming back to the team on Media Mash.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Back to Media Mash.
Oh, man. We're just having fun here on Media Mash. Jane Slater from NFL Network is right here. Camera's right in front of her. She's got her TV makeup on. It's holding up well. Clarence, if he had it on, would be sweating that all down his face.
I brought powder if you want me to do you up
He's got
here.
a big old sweater on, and he can't stand the TV lights. This is Clarence E. Hill Jr., Fort Worth Star-Telegram, the longest-running tenured beat writer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
That means I'm old.
Jerry almost changed that on you last year, though.
He is Jerry's favorite.
Me too. To be fair, we may not have been here last year.
I don't work for Jerry.
Clarence is Jerry's favorite, and it bugs Archer. There's just no question. This is Nick Eatman over here, Cowboys Media, going all the way back to 98?
99 was my first year. Actually, just the other day, Derek Eagleton came. He said, "Hey, I got to ask you something." He goes, I'm going to ask you to do something I've never asked you to do since you've been working here. And I just said, cover an NFC Championship game? He was like, no, not that. Something else. But, yeah. I was just thinking, because people say, man, you've been here forever. You've seen it all. I was like, I haven't seen an NFC Championship game.
I've had the distinct privilege of working with both of you guys when I've been laid off. Here and there.
You ain't in the business if you haven't been
true.
fired or laid off. I think it's 4 times for me. The last one kind of hurt, though. Slater replaced me.
No, I didn't.
Oh, here we go.
No, I didn't.
I was just kidding. You and Guy both replaced me.
Okay.
But
and then I left.
And then you left. You went on to bigger and better things. You gave him about 5 minutes, and you were gone. That's how much you missed me.
It's true.
All right, let's get into this.
Stop. I know you two.
Wait, what's he got? Let's hear it.
No, you don't want to hear it because I just know it.
That's all his
Go
eyes.
ahead. Yeah. The worst thing is I know what he's thinking. The worst thing is I know what he's thinking. He's probably
years and years. I brought up Archer. Archer wrote this week during the bye week, and I love Archer. And I'm not calling him out. I'm just teasing him. He's talking about how they're in cap trouble for next year at the bye week.
Well,
See,
you got to think ahead.
I mean,
that's the problem. They haven't thought ahead for a lot of years.
Here
He's helping them think ahead.
They're 5-1, and there's panic in the streets. Oh my God, they're screwed.
There's no drama.
There's
no drama, Steve.
I've worked
you
with you before, and I know one thing you hate is talking about money. You don't like the cap. You don't like talking about contracts.
I think that's the general manager's job. Why do the media have to deal with it? Just get it done.
It affects the decisions on the field.
Well, that's up to them.
No. He's right. If it affects the decisions on the field, you have to consider the cap and worry about the cap because you have to follow the money based on who's going to be on the team or not. But right now, this is about Operation LA. Which is what I wrote in the Star Telegram.
But it's also about getting these younger guys playing time so you don't find yourself in cap hell.
It's about Operation LA. This team has a chance to win.
Operation LA.
But you can accomplish both. You can get depth for a deep run, and you can start thinking about next year in your cap.
Let me ask you this,
Team has a chance to win.
Okay.
Focus on winning.
Next year. You say that doesn't really matter so much.
Oh, it matters.
Okay, but the decision right now, okay, Terrence Steele is a better player because they kept playing him last year, even though it was like, why are they playing this guy? Diggs is a better player because they threw him out there. So now you figure out, with Lyell's situation, is he going to be our tackle next year? Well, maybe not. If it's close, then maybe Terrence Steele just keep going because we know what next year's cap is going to be tough. Let's do it. So sometimes the decisions are right now for the future.
Absolutely
true. Going back, look at the
beauty,
Saints, which is a team that I cover. They found themselves in a really tough situation this year because they weren't thinking about that cap. They were also in win now mode.
All right, where are you going with Lyell? That Jane said.
The bottom line, I'm glad you brought it up because all of those are factors. And what's also a factor with Lyell, and we're talking about in the locker room, and the players, feeling for him. I think that the front office also is sending a message to Lyle Collins. Again, here's a guy who did put himself in position to be suspended. Here's a guy who had the suspension reduced to 2 games.
Which he agreed upon.
And then he changed his mind to fight the suspension. Now he has 5 games. He's the reason why Terrence Steele is starting. Because if it's just a 2-game suspension, Terrence Steele doesn't get to play long enough to earn the starting job. And then you have the issue with the alleged bribe that brought your quarterback into question of how he talked to the test collector, which became national news. Which, if you don't take that to court, then that doesn't come out.
Okay.
Well, see, let me give you some life lessons, Clarence. Sometimes these things come up in life where people make bad decisions.
But you could also argue there's a lot of guys who have done a lot worse around here.
No, I agree. But my point is, when you have somebody replace you, and you can have a chance to send a message, I think that's part of this. What's going on?
I guess I'm just curious if it's a message this week. In other words, it's when your parents say you're grounded and they're like, it's going to be a week, no phone, whatever. And then by day 3, it's like, all right, here's your phone back.
You had one of those moms. I didn't have one of those moms. No, I had to,
honestly,
she gave her phone back after one day.
No, we would choose belt or grounding. I'd choose the belt. My brother and sister would choose grounding, and they'd be out right after I got the belt because they'd feel so bad about it. Then people are going to weigh in on this debate later. But my point is,
you got spankings?
Oh yeah. Okay. But so this is why I'm trying to figure out.
Could you just try?
Yeah.
Could you? Ladies and gentlemen, Clarence E. Hill Jr.
The good news is I've known these guys a really long time.
Don't look at me the rest of the show.
A really long
not
time.
us.
What I do?
This guy.
But my point
he
in
thinks
saying
he's
that,
standing on the sideline right now. You're on the air.
My point in saying that is I can't figure out if this is a decoy, if they're actually looking for their best 5, or if this is a send a message. It's hard.
Maybe a little bit of all of it.
I think it could be all of it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think it's a good thing.
Next turn.
One more thing about Lyell, though. It sounds like both of you are saying that you feel like, hey, he should have just taken the 2 games.
Yes.
Okay, but next year, you even said, you kind of threw it in there that this is a contract year for him. right? I think my understanding was you guys might not.
What's
might
Connor
know
Williams' contract year? Is that low year next year?
But hold on.
His guarantees are going out of his contract.
Why?
Got it.
But
because
why?
Because of the suspension.
That's why he's fighting it. He's fighting it because if they were wrong, then he can get those guarantees
the money back.
He doesn't want 2 versus 5. He wants it at 0 so he can get his money and his job back.
But he was trying to argue the procedural aspect of it.
They
and
always
they told
lose in
him,
court. You are not going to win this.
And they
so
told
it's
him
about
multiple
playing
times
now.
you're going to have a hard time with this.
There was no way he was going to win this.
Yes.
Well,
when Jerry thinks you have a chance to win, and NFL does you wrong, what does he do?
He fights for you.
And he comes to your defense.
Did Jerry fight?
Not publicly.
Not said anything
Not
publicly.
No, he did not fight.
He did not fight.
Not publicly.
Maybe he's out of that business of saying
They fought. Of course
saying
they
things
did.
publicly.
No.
Of course they fought, and they wanted to be able to prove that there was some procedural lapses.
Because this took the guarantees away. It helps Jerry. It helps Jerry.
But he put himself in that situation, and he agreed to the two.
He did.
All right, let's get to who owes back. Who owes back? Is Gallup going to take everything away from Cedric?
I was told that it was going to be a little bit closer to Broncos week. In other words, he looked good at practice, but it sounds like he's closer to playing.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect
against
him
the Broncos.
I don't expect him to play
those
at all.
calf injuries.
They are. Especially when you're running and cutting.
Everything comes full circle.
Especially when we got a capable replacement too.
All right, what about who else?
I don't want to go there. You said you can't be friends with players. I'm too emotionally attached to Michael Gallup. He's such a good kid.
Yeah, I love Michael Gallup.
I hate even the notion of trading him. And I don't think the Cowboys are going to do that either.
No, who doesn't love Michael Gallup?
I was a really good friend with Jason Witten, but it was a shame that their best player that era was a tight end. I've said that to his face. The problem with liking him so much is you have to be you don't want to be careful what you say in our jobs. You know what I'm saying? So because they're your buddy, you don't want to go, oh no, because then you become a homer. Yeah. And
well, I was accused of that with Dez 100%, but Dez would also call me out if he didn't like something that I reported. He was the first person to send me a text and check me, and then I'd have to explain.
You've been friends with some. I mean, I don't know about friends is the right word.
Friends isn't the right word, but I would say you have a relationship with them.
Because you have to.
It's all about gaining. It's just like people have a relationship with Jerry and Steven. And everything else. The business is about
a relationship-based business.
Can I share a quick story?
But they're relationships.
Clarence, a quick story. You're right. I tried very hard to develop a relationship with guess who? Terrell Owens.
Oh.
I did a show with him for 2 years.
Right.
Oh, you used to come.
You should have
over there
had a
downtown.
great relationship with him.
And I worked very hard on the relationship. You want to talk about how you don't want to do that as a media member? Because when he left town, and we had a bit of a relationship, I could say honest things to him, and I thought that he kind of trusted me. Well, I see him at the Super Bowl years later when I'm doing radio, and I go up to him, and he had no idea who I was.
Well, he meets a lot of people.
I go, T.O., come here a second. He goes, who are you? You don't want to pretend like you've got relationship with these athletes.
It's almost famous. He's saying they're not your friends.
Your eyes watering. What's going on?
My eyes always water. I'm old, Clarence.
You're crying. Sound like you're disappointed because T.O. didn't know who you were.
And I'm very emotional.
Crying because T.O. didn't know who you were.
Okay, you work on your life lessons. I'll work on mine.
Hey,
okay?
To be fair, you've aged a bit, so maybe he didn't recognize you after you started wearing glasses.
Maybe Steve.
Maybe he just didn't like you.
Sometimes there's
maybe he pulled a Mariah Carey on you. I don't know him.
Just throw out of the court.
Yeah.
I'm throwing that one out.
Just throw it out.
Tell that story about a normal person, a normal player, then that'll be something. See,
you still have relationships with guys like Gary Church around here?
I defended his evil.
He didn't know that, though.
He's a different
No.
guy.
I don't care about him. I'm saying I worked that relationship. I defended him. Oh, Werder and I used to go almost to blows because he blamed the whole 2008 season on him. You wrecked my team, Ed. You wrecked my team, Ed. That's what Jerry said to him. And I said, you do not know Terrell Owens. Get to know him. And I learned.
He didn't know you.
He didn't know you.
This is a therapy session. I feel like he hasn't forgotten.
That's why he's crying.
Just beware of the relationships. Anyway, we got to go. I want to thank rookie Chris Beamer, first of all, for having to endure this wonderful episode of Media Mash. We could just do this till the weekend, couldn't we? Thank you guys for letting me talk Cowboys with you again. Jane Slater, Nick Eatman, Clarence E. Hill Jr. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock, Jory Epstein's here. Rob Phillips is here. And John Machota
It will not be
here.
as
You're not going to have to adjust your volume.
It will not be as loud
quite as heated
today.
Clarence brings that.
Or what is...
You guys have a good
Always
Wednesday
the same
night.
level of opinions.
Media Mash out.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!